What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Dana White reveals big news for the UFC. The Las Vegas Sphere has continued to make headlines after a YouTube performance marked the opening of the historic venue. With fans eager to see numerous teams and musicians appear at the Sphere, Dana White has dropped a bombshell on the MMA community. On the heels of a successful Noche UFC event last month, White is now targeting the Sphere for the Noche UFC 2024 card next September. Speaking to media members during a post-fight press conference for Dana White's Contender Series this week, the UFC president called his shot.
You all know that I want that date. That's what I want. I want to do Mexican Independence Day there. Imagine the show that I can put on at the Sphere with Mexican Independence Day. So, yeah, we'll put on an incredible show in that amazing arena for the next Mexican Independence Day. So I'm very excited about it.
White may have set his sights on the Sphere for 2024. However, in the meantime, former UFC heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou showed in a video that he and Tyson Fury's upcoming bout was the first fight featured on the Sphere. Whether or not White decides to host a number of future events at the venue, or just the annual Noche UFC card, only time will tell. Shout out to our first comments on yesterday's video. Thanks for the support. Next up, let's take a look at Michael Chandler provides update on Conor McGregor fight. With the end of the year lined up for the UFC, it now appears as though Conor McGregor and Michael Chandler will collide sometime early next year. With that in mind, the UFC has also reportedly planned on having Sugar Sean O'Malley headline a card early next year. And with featherweight kingpin Alexander Volkanovski eager to return to action, it sounds as though two of the UFC's early 2024 pay-per-views may already have headliners. With that in mind, Michael Chandler recently appeared on the MMA Hour to discuss the status of his fight with Conor McGregor.
The status is unequivocal. The fight is still happening. The fight is not booked for a date. The fight is not booked for a venue. The fight is booked between Chandler and Conor. There's no way that Conor comes back and doesn't fight me.
As he went on to theorize, with a historic UFC 300 card expected to take place in March or April, a fight between he and McGregor would make sense as a headliner.
It makes a lot of sense that there's a very historic card coming up with the UFC. I haven't been told that's when it's going to be, but I wouldn't be surprised if that is when it is. And if it is...
Despite that, many feel as though a bout will never come to fruition, despite the promotion needing a headliner for UFC 300. As Renato Moicano also explained on the MMA Hour, although McGregor loves attention, he doesn't love fighting anymore.
The division is a mess right now. As you can see, people, we have guys like Michael Chandler, he's delusional right now. Conor is not gonna fight him.
With Chandler predicting the fight happens and Moicano predicting it doesn't, only time will tell which side is right. It's also important to note, Conor McGregor has apparently entered the USADA pool. He posted pictures of a sparring session on Instagram with the caption saying, "Find my targets, hit them. The consequences, you're going down. This is fighting, sparring day with Nikola Grozdev. Always a banger of a spar with the sick fella. Submitted my stuff to Nowitzki, ball rolling." Jeff Nowitzki is the current Senior Vice President of Athlete Health and Performance for the UFC, so it is possible that we get a Conor McGregor matchup against Michael Chandler at UFC 300 in April of 2024. This would give Conor his 6 months time in USADA and would make the most sense for the UFC 300 card. Now, let's take a look at UFC Fight Update. Two exciting fights have reportedly been added to upcoming cards in the new year, starting with a January 13th clash between Yana Santos, formerly known as Yana Kunitskaya, and Norma Dumont. This fight will take place at UFC Vegas 83 on January 13th, and will see Santos look to snap a 3-fight skid going back to 2021 that recently saw her drop a split decision to Carol Rosa. On the flip side, Dumont will be looking to extend a 3-fight win streak of her own that recently saw her rattle off back-to-back decision victories in 2023. The following week, a bout between featherweights Arnold Allen and Movsar Evloev is reportedly in the works for UFC 297, which is expected to take place in Toronto, Canada. The bout will see Allen look to bounce back from a unanimous decision loss to Max Holloway earlier this year, while Evloev looks to build on a 7-fight win streak inside the octagon, which most recently saw him defeat Diego Lopez at UFC 288. With the new year right around the corner, expect plenty more fight announcements in the weeks to come. Now let's shift gears and take a look at Colby Covington doesn't deserve a UFC title shot? Colby Covington's upcoming title shot continues to remain controversial. For example, while Belal Muhammad has put together a 5-0 run in his last 5 fights since 2021, Covington has fought just twice in that time, posting a 1-1 record, which most recently features a win over Jorge Masvidal from March of 2022. The way Joaquin Buckley sees things, Covington getting a crack at the belt simply doesn't make any sense. After being asked to predict the upcoming clash between Covington and Leon Edwards, Buckley took aim at the matchmaking.
I don't know, bro. To be honest with you, it don't make any sense to me to put some respect on his name. Belal Muhammad should definitely, been fighting for the belt. Colby Covington. Be honest with you, I can't even remember the last fight he had. I really can't remember. Like, who did he fight last? I'm gonna ask y'all a question. Who did he fight last? I can't remember. So regardless of that, I feel like Belal Muhammad should have definitely been up next to fight for the belt. So I don't really know how that Leon and Colby Covington fight goes.
Of course, with the bout finalized for UFC 296, whether or not Covington deserves a crack at the title is a moot point. When he and Leon Edwards collide in December, he will have the chance to cement his place as an undisputed champion. Since we're on the topic of Colby Covington, he recently came out in an interview firing back at Islam Makhachev. If you watched our video from yesterday, Islam said he wants to fight Colby Covington for the welterweight title in a recent interview. Well, it looks like Colby Covington watched that interview and had this to say on Submission Radio.
Saying that to get a headline. He ain't really going to come out here and fight. I think, he's another guy that he's going to run his mouth, try and hype up a fight, but he's never going to actually step up and do it, Khabib did the same thing. So they know that, American wrestling is the best. That Sambo shit don't work. He would get worked like any day of the week in grappling or wrestling in America. He's over there, playing with sheep, doing his thing over there, but that stuff doesn't work.
Today's video is brought to you by Manscaped.com. Most of you are probably familiar with Manscaped by now, but they're back at it again with a game-changing grooming tool we know a lot of you are gonna love. Today, we're excited to introduce their new tool, the Handyman Compact Shaver. If you want to make your grooming routine easier and more effective, the Handyman was especially made for you. First things first, the Handyman delivers a quick, close shave with a unique dual blade system. It features a standard foil shaver as well as a long hair leveler blade to knock down up to 3 days worth of growth. Say goodbye to patchy beards and hello to a clean, well-groomed look. Another great feature is their skin-safe technology designed to help reduce nicks and cuts. Plus, Handyman is waterproof, which helps make cleanup quick and easy. It has a sleek, compact design that fits perfectly in your palm, making it super easy to maneuver and reach those tricky areas. Whether you're at home or on the go, the Handyman will be your go-to for grooming. The product is airplane friendly and boasts a 60-minute runtime. And to top it all off, today we've got a crazy offer for all of you. If you use our promo code MMAZone at checkout, you can get 20% off your purchase of the Handyman at Manscaped. So what are you waiting for? Upgrade your grooming routine and get your hands on the Handyman today. Trust me, your face will thank you. Now, let's take a look at Fighter Goes Off on UFC Roster. Joe Pyfer has heard the criticisms about the UFC putting his fight with Abdul Razak Al Hassan as the co-main event of this weekend's Dawson vs. Green card. Although he's just 2-0 inside the octagon, Pyfer believes he deserves the spot, and he didn't hesitate to take aim at UFC fighters who feel otherwise. While speaking to media members this week, he went off regarding the situation.
I don't feel hate from the other fighters, but I can feel the animosity. So f*** you, you know what I mean? You're not me, right? You shouldn't be another person. That's what Abdul said. You shouldn't want to be another person. But it rubbed everybody the wrong way. Fuck it long and hard, brother. That's all I got to say. Because I'm me, and you guys want to be me. That's how I see it. You know what I mean? I don't have to apologize for what Dana said. I don't have to feel weird because they don't like it. F*** you. So, yeah, I mean, I'm deserving of this opportunity. You think I'm a co-main event because of Abdul? You're 6-5 in the UFC. I'm not saying you're not good. But I'm undefeated in the UFC. I'm only 2-0 and I haven't beat shit. So I'm arrogant, I'm cocky, and whatever. Saturday night, I get to go out there and prove why.
With Pyfer already earning the respect of UFC President Dana White, it'll be interesting to see how things play out on Saturday night as he looks to prove himself to those doubting him. Let's take a look at UFC fighter gets charged after altercation. The infamous gym scuffle that took place between Jake Shields and Mike Jackson has landed the former Strikeforce champ in hot water. According to a report from MMA Fighting, Shields is now feeling the legal repercussions of the incident. After being charged with misdemeanor battery, Shields then failed to appear at an arraignment recently in late September, resulting in the judge issuing a bench warrant. At the time of the incident, Jackson was open about his plan to press charges against the vet, calling the incident between the two assault. While speaking with MMA Fighting This Week, Jackson broke the news regarding a bench warrant being out for Shields, taking aim at the longtime MMA vet. He's a piece of Jake Shields. I know somebody is going to tell you about this. You better be on your best behavior, you coward, because the man is looking for you. He has a warrant out for his arrest because he's a coward piece of shit. So he's on the run, essentially. So far, there's been no word from Shields, who has yet to comment on the situation or turn himself in. Joe Rogan reacts to Paddy Pimblett versus Tony Ferguson. The MMA community has remained divided on the upcoming Tony Ferguson versus Paddy Pimblett fight. While many, including Chael Sonnen, believe that Ferguson shouldn't be overlooked, others believe that when the two collide at UFC 296, El Cucuy could be in for his 7th straight loss. Leading up to the fight, Joe Rogan discussed about during a recent episode of his Joe Rogan Experience podcast.
It's a good fight. It's a good fight for both guys because, like, you know, Paddy's the guy coming up and Tony is the legend. And so it's a real crossroads fight. And for Tony, it may very well be his last fight in the UFC if he loses. That's you know, fair to speculate. A lot of people have been calling for him to step down, to stop fighting. Well, it started out with him hurting his knee.
Yeah.
You know, and then he came back after that and beat Pettis, which was pretty extraordinary. But then when he had that Gaethje fight, the Gaethje fight was rough. Yeah. That was rough.
Ferguson, of course, has remained confident in himself since the fight has been announced. While the odds are currently sitting in Pimblett's favor, the former interim lightweight champ has predicted that he'll finish the streaking Scouser and get back in the win column. Top comments. Colby has come to fight, and his pressure and takedown threat is as real as it was when he faced Masvidal. It's going to be a great fight. Someone responded with, "You ever seen Colby not come to fight? That kid is all the way up for every second for 25 minutes straight when it comes to fighting. Colby brings it like no one else, and he sustains it the whole time. He's a nightmare. Colby would show levels in wrestling to Makhachev. Plus, his pressure amid striking is too much. Islam doesn't want this fight." Someone responded with, "Colby would win so easily, but then he would have to wake up at some point and face reality. If only Tony did the business move and not take that Gaethje fight like he did." Make sure to leave a comment and you might get featured in our next video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to never miss any MMA news. Check out our video from yesterday if you missed it. See you tomorrow.